Good morning, students. This is our last lecture of second unit. The second unit, that is project identification, selection, and planning. In this, from starting, we have seen what is actually identification of project, how to identify a project, how to select a project, how to pick up a project for that particular idea. Means we are having a particular idea in our mind, how to pick a particular project that will be a successful project. In this case, from the that different ideas of the project, that is the selection of a project, how we select, what are the different components, different things, different technical resources we are considering while selecting that project and identifying that project. Next step, we have seen planning. In the planning is the most important thing about the project management. Before initializing the project, we are making a planning, exactly proper planning regarding to that project. Okay, that's why project is very important. It is basic the outline of a project, the step by step execution, how we are doing step by step execution of a project, that is decided or that is done in the project planning. And how we are collecting different resources, that is also decided in the planning. How we are taking different using different manpower, different team leaders, different team members for the purpose of project, how we are breaking the project into number of steps, that everything will be decided into the planning. So that planning is very important for each and every project, for the purpose of getting a feasible project or for getting a successful project at the end of the project, though it is short term project or long term project. Next, in this now we will see the next point, what is actually the work breakdown structure. Okay, let's start this particular point, that is work breakdown structure. What is actually work breakdown structure? We can call WBS for the work breakdown structure also. The work breakdown structure in a project management is a method of completing a complex multi-step project. It's a way to divide and conquer large projects to get things done faster and more efficiently. Means this breakdown structure is nothing but dividing that particular work, breaking that particular work into number of steps for for the purpose of a project which is a complex project. To complete that complex project, to have a multi-step project, if we break down that particular project or we break down the steps of that project, that multi-step project will be done in a proper way, so that we will get a we will get a particular project with more efficiency, and it will be done in a faster way. The goal of work breakdown structure is to make a large project more manageable. Okay, number of large projects that we undergo, for the purpose of that large project, to complete that large project within the given time period, within the deadline and within the budget of the project. For that purpose, WBSC is a very helpful tool for making that particular project to be a successful project. Breaking it into smaller chunks means work can be done simultaneously by different team members. Means if I'm having a project, I'm breaking that project into number of steps. Some of the 10 people are doing one step, some of the 10 people are doing the next step, so that simultaneously number of steps are being done at the same time, and we are getting it efficiently at the output we are getting efficiently, leading to better team productivity and easier project management, so that it will be easy for a project manager to do the project in a efficient way. Okay, getting exactly idea of work breakdown structure. Work breakdown structure is simply a breaking the particular project into number of steps, so that number of people can do it simultaneously and give a proper output. Let's move to the next point, how to create a work breakdown structure. How we can create that particular work breakdown structure. Let us consider, before you create a work breakdown structure, it's essential first to access the project scope by talking to all stakeholders and key team members they are involved in that particular project. As the project manager, you want to ensure that all critical inputs and deliverables are gathered and transparently prioritized. Means whatever the sources we are gathering, that are gathered before the starting or execution of a project, that is to be done by a project manager. All these things to be considered by a project manager. And before creating that particular breakdown structure, it is needed for a project manager to speak or to communicate with the stakeholders and all other the team members of the project, to communicate with each and everyone about creating that work breakdown structure, about the idea of the project, about the outline of the project, budget of the project. If he will communicate with the people, then the people will get a proper idea about that particular thing, and they will be able to work in a work breakdown structure in a proper way. Sorry. You may use charts, flowcharts, spreadsheets, or lists to show the hierarchical outline of importance and connectivity between the tasks needed to complete the project. Okay, different things we can consider. Just like we find out different things for the purpose of study, for the purpose of classification. We use different charts, different flowcharts, spreadsheet, list. Also, we use here also for the purpose of breakdown. We can use all these tools. All these things can be considered for the purpose of making that project a feasible project. After outlining the deliverables and task in order to completion, you can then assign each task to a project team member. Okay, ensuring no team member carries the majority of the project's weight by spreading duties and responsibilities across the team. Means that, sorry, it means that when we outline that particular deliverables, or we outline a work breakdown structure, we outline a planning of that particular project, and we are outlining that work breakdown structure, then in that case the particular project manager have to give different tasks to different team members. He can give different tasks to different team leaders, so the team leader will divide that work into the different team members. Okay, so that it will be done in a proper way. This is how a work breakdown structure is achieved. Means by communicating with different peoples, they are related to the project. By communicating with the workers, they will work in that project. By communicating with the peoples or the resources from where we are taking different things that are related to the project, by that way the particular project manager can start a work breakdown structure in a proper way. After starting a work breakdown structure, or after outlining the work breakdown structure, means after planning about the work breakdown structure, that particular project manager should divide the work into number of peoples, into number of team leaders, team members, and all the people, so that they can understand what is exactly role of the people in that particular manner. This is how a work breakdown structure is achieved. Let us see what is actually the need of work breakdown structure. Means why we are using a work breakdown structure in a project management. Let us see what is the need of that work breakdown structure. Making a work breakdown structure is a first step in developing a project schedule. It defines all the work that needs to be completed and in what order that is to be completed to achieve a project goals and objectives. By visualizing a project in this manner, you can understand that your project scope and allocate resources for all the project tasks. A well constructed work breakdown structure that will help with important project management process groups and knowledge areas, such as you can call it as project planning, project scheduling, project budgeting, all these things, or risk management, resources management, task management, and team management also. In addition to that, a work breakdown structure that helps to avoid common project management issues such as missed deadlines, scopes, creeps, cost overrun, and among other number of other things. They are the other things or other problems, they will come in between the completion of a project. In other words, we can say that a work breakdown structure that serves as your map. Here we can say that a work breakdown structure that can help you to manage those items and gain clarity into the details that is needed to accomplish every aspect of your project scope. Okay, this is how a particular project work breakdown structure is needed for a better project, for better planning, for better scheduling, for making risk management, making resource management, for making different task management, team management, for managing each and everything in a proper way, for making a project to be feasible, for a making project to be a successful within the time limit and within the budget. It is very necessary to make a planning and to make a work breakdown structure planning also. Okay, now let's move to the next point, that is characteristics of a work breakdown structure. What are the different characteristics of this work breakdown structure? Let us see. A project management institute that defines a work breakdown structure as a deliverable oriented hierarchical decomposition of the work that to be executed by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. Okay, each work breakdown structure level that represents new and increasingly detailed definition of work needed to complete the project. Project Management Institute definition adds that work breakdown structure that must be constructed in a way that each new level in the hierarchy that includes all the work needed to complete its present task. This means that every parent task element that must have more than one child task within it to consider the parent task element complete, so that then and then only the particular parent chart or parent task that will be completed within that particular time. Now let us see one of the example of a work breakdown structure. In the work breakdown structure, when created thoroughly, the work breakdown structure is a roadmap that guides a team when completing the project, whether simple or a complex project. Here is a work breakdown structure example that we can see on the screen. Means from this map you can see that a project that is divided into the two phases of deliverables. After that, each phase, first phase that is divided into three work packages. Means they have divided that particular phase of deliverable into three steps or three work packages steps, and activities related to that work packages that are different. So means simultaneously first, second and third work packages are going on. The work related to that, the activities related to that, the particular phase that are going on, and we are getting at the output a proper thing. Simultaneously things are being done. And okay, getting the concept of work breakdown structure, this was the example of work breakdown structure. Now as a project manager, you may have to experiment to see which work breakdown structure is best for you and your team. Okay, there are different planning or different methods of work breakdown structure, so that as a project manager the person have to decide or have to think about the different work breakdown structure and pick up a proper work breakdown structure for that particular project, which is good for that your team and your particular project. The goal for this is to show the hierarchy of your project and make progress clear to everyone that is involved in that project, whether they are team members or an external stakeholders. Now let us see some of the work breakdown structure examples. Sorry, work breakdown structure spreadsheets. In that you can structure your work breakdown structure efficiently in a spreadsheet, noting that different phases, tasks and deliverables in a column and rows, so that you will be able to understand what are the deliverable, what are the tasks, what are the activities related to that particular work breakdown structure. Next, you can consider work breakdown structure flowcharts. Here you can structure your work breakdown structure in a diagrammatic flowchart manner, so that most work breakdown structure examples and templates that you may find as a flowcharts. That is a good flowchart is a good example for a work breakdown structure. Next, we can find out a list. In the list format, you can structure your work breakdown structure as a simple list of tasks or deliverables and the subtask related to that. This is the most straightforward approach to make the work breakdown structure by using the list. Next, we can consider work breakdown structure using Gantt chart. You can structure your work breakdown structure as a Gantt chart that represents both a spreadsheet and a timeline. Okay, with a Gantt chart structure, work breakdown structure, you can link that particular task dependencies and show the project milestones in that particular structure. Okay, now there are two types of work breakdown structures. That are the two main types are deliverable based and phase based. These are the two types: deliverable based work breakdown structure and phase based work breakdown structure. In the deliverable based work breakdown structure, a deliverable based work breakdown structure that first breaks down the project into all the major areas of the project scope as control accounts, and then divides those into the project deliverables and work packages. Okay, first, it means that here in this type, in this first, that project is divided, or that is break down into major areas of the project and scopes, and after that it is divided into the different deliverables and work breakdown packages also. In the phase based work breakdown structure, that in that it displays the final deliverable on top with the work breakdown structure level below, showing the 5 phases of the project, that is initiation, planning, execution, control and closeouts. Just as in the deliverable based work breakdown structure, the project phases are divided into project deliverables and work packages. Our previous in that particular section means work breakdown structure is related to the different phases of the project: initiation, planning, execution, control and closeout. These are the phases. This is the life cycle of the project. In this particular phases, work breakdown structure is applied in between these number of 5 phases, and work breakdown structure is used there. Now let us see the different elements they are related to the work breakdown structure. A typical project work breakdown structure is made up of several key components. While all uses our work breakdown structure examples, let us see some of the elements related to work breakdown structure. The first element is work breakdown structure dictionary. A work breakdown structure dictionary is a document that defines the various work breakdown structure elements. It's an important component of work breakdown structure because it allows the project participants and stakeholders to understand the work breakdown structure terminology with more clarity by that particular dictionary. Next element we can consider is levels of work breakdown structure. In this, work breakdown structure levels are what determines the hierarchy of work breakdown structure element. Most work breakdown structures have 3 levels that represents the project main deliverable: control accounts, project deliverables and work packages. That are the different levels that we are considering for the work breakdown structure. Next we can consider is control accounts related to the work breakdown structure. Here the control accounts are used to group work packages and measure their status. They are used to control areas of your project scope. In our example, the execution of project phase could be a control account because it has several deliverables and work packages associated to it. Okay, these are the different accounts, control accounts related to the work breakdown structure. Next we can consider its project deliverables. What are the project deliverables? They are desired outcomes of a project task and work packages. In work breakdown structure example, we can observe some examples of project deliverables such as the project budget or interior work. Both of them are results of small tasks and work packages. Project budget and interior work, that is the output of the different tasks, different steps. Next element regarding to the work breakdown structure we can consider is work packages. Here, as defined by the Project Management Institute in its project management body of the knowledge book, a work package is the lowest level of work breakdown structure. That's because a work package is a group of related tasks that are small enough to be assigned to a team members or a department. As a project manager, you can estimate cost and duration of these work packages, which makes them an essential work breakdown element. Okay, this is an essential work breakdown element for a particular work breakdown structure. Next element we can consider is task. Your task make up your work packages and therefore your project scopes. A work breakdown structure that will help you to define each task requirement, status description, task owner, dependencies and duration related to that particular work breakdown structure. Okay, these are the different elements that we have to consider for the purpose of work breakdown structure. Now let us see how we can create a work breakdown structure in 6 steps. There are different steps for creating the work breakdown structure. To create a work breakdown structure for a project, you need information from the project management documents. First step for the purpose of creating work breakdown structure is defining the project scope, goals and objectives. That is nothing but the planning of the project. Your project goals and objective that set rules for defining your project scope. The project scope, team member, goal and objective that should be documented on the project charter so that all the team members will be able to understand. They will be having a clear idea about the goals of the project, objectives of the project. Okay, next step we can consider is identifying project phases and control accounts. In this, the next level down in the project phases is break the larger project or scope statement into series of phases that will take it from conception to completion. You can also create control accounts which are task categories for different work areas you want to keep track on. Next step is list your project deliverables. In this, what are your project deliverables? That you have to list all the deliverables regarding to the project. List them all and note the work needed for those project deliverables to be deemed successfully delivered project. Means we can consider these deliverables as sub deliverables, work packages and resources and different participants related to that particular project. Next step is to set work breakdown structure levels. In this, the levels are what makes a work breakdown structure, a hierarchical deconstruction of your project scope as defined by the Project Management Institute in its project management body of knowledge book. You will need to start the project final deliverables and think about all the deliverables and work packages needed to get there from the start. Okay, creating work packages. In this, take your deliverables from work and break them into every single task and subtask that is necessary to deliver them. Group those into the work packages. This is creating work packages. The sixth and last step related to that is choosing task owners. With the task now laid out, assign them to your project team. Give each team member the work management tool, resources and authority they will need to get the job done. This is how that particular task owners will be chosen in this particular work breakdown structure. Okay, this is how the different in by using different these 6 steps we can find or we can form a work breakdown structure. Now let us see how we can have work breakdown structure practices in a proper manner. As you are working on your work breakdown structure, it is very helpful to maintain some of the best practices. For that, you have to keep some of the things in your mind, that is 100% rule. In this is the most important guiding principle to construct a work breakdown structure. This particular rule, that is 100% rule, you have to consider while constructing the work breakdown structure. It consists of including 100% of the work that is defined by the project scope, which is divided into work breakdown levels that contains control accounts, project deliverables, work packages and tasks. This rule applies to all the levels of work breakdown structure. So the sum of the work at a lower work breakdown structure level, that must be equal to 100% of the work represented by the work breakdown structure level. It is about without the exception. This thing you have to keep in your mind. The next thing you have to keep in your mind, using nouns. Work breakdown structure is about deliverables and the tasks that will lead to your final deliverables. Therefore, your deadline is more on what or than how. You have to consider how is the deadline. Okay, it is on what or how you can complete that particular work breakdown structure, or what you are using in that particular work breakdown structure. This you have to consider why deadline that particular work breakdown structures. Next, you have to consider be thorough. For a work breakdown structure to do its job, there must be no holes. Everything is important if it's part of the course that leads to your final deliverables. To manage that schedule, you need a complete listing of every task, big and small task that takes you there. Next, you have to keep in mind, keep tasks mutually exclusive. This simply means that there is no reason to break out individual tasks of work that is already part of another task. If the work that is covered in a task because it goes together with another task, then you don't need to make a separate task. You can do both the tasks togetherly, and simultaneously tasks are done and they are going in between. They are interdependent. They are dependent on one another each. In this way, you can mutually exclude the different tasks and you can complete that work breakdown structure. You have to go just deep enough for the purpose of creating that work breakdown structure, is that you can get crazy without subtask on your work breakdown structure. The work breakdown structure that has to be detailed but not so deep that it becomes confusing for the people. Ideally, the things may be 3 or 5 at most levels. Means if you are making different number of levels in that, it will be very deeper, and in that way the people will get confused how to complete that particular project. Okay, getting everything regarding work breakdown structure. In the work breakdown structure, how we are breaking the particular work related to the project into different steps, so that all the steps are going simultaneously and we are getting an efficient output. Now let's move to the next point, that is difference between work breakdown structure and a work breakdown schedule. It is a structure and this is a schedule. Get the difference between these two. Various detailed project documents that support the work breakdown structure. Amongst them are a risk management plan, also quality plan, then procurement plan, communication plan, staffing plan, and work breakdown schedule plan. The work breakdown schedule that includes the start and completion dates for all the tasks, activities, and deliverables that are defined in the work breakdown structure. Means in a particular work breakdown structure, we are simply dividing the project in number of steps so that we can find a better output. But in the work breakdown schedule, we are having all the deadlines related to the different steps. Mean in whatever the steps we are having in work breakdown structure, or whatever the in how many steps we are dividing or we are breaking that work related to the project, the deadlines related to each and every step is schedule is having is schedule or is noted in the work breakdown schedule. That is the difference between the work breakdown structure and work breakdown schedule. Okay, this is the difference. Next point we can see is that how to use Wrike as your work breakdown structure tool. Using Wrike as a work breakdown structure tool, you can easily create folders and subfolders and go even further to divide this into the task and subtask. Following the steps to create a good work breakdown structure above, you can easily assign each task in the work breakdown structure to appropriate team members and set due dates towards the final deliverable completions. Okay, you can also show visibility into the project to the relevant stakeholders at every stage of the project. Means by using Wrike software, WRIKE, Wrike, this is a software. By using that software, we can form different folders and subfolders related to the work breakdown structure. Means we are dividing or we are breaking a particular work or project into different steps. We can divide that different step into the sub steps by using sub steps or subtasks by using the Wrike software. In that way we can assign that different task or different steps to the another people also. They are related to the team, they are related to this project completing of this project. This is how the Wrike is very useful for the purpose of using this work breakdown structure.